Okay, good. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 9th, 2021. The time is 9:01 a.m. I'm officially calling this meeting to order. It is our weekly community development meeting, and Commissioners Duncan and Filios are present. Commissioner Brooks is excused. And I'm going to ask, Pat, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes, sir. I'd be honored to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I don't have any opening comments, any potential conflicts of interest?
No, well, public hearing or on the deliberations?
Anything on the agenda, really?
Okay, so I did attend New Life Community Church for about 13 years, but not under the current pastor, and I have no relationship to the school. If
Okay,
that
that's fine.
makes sense, and it's not going to affect my ability to make a decision today.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you for disclosing. Okay, public hearing. Okay, first item, case number ORA 21-0001, a request by Kootenai County to amend section 8.8.203 of our county code. And David, I think I'm going to let you take it rather than my reading it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. A couple of quick things before I get into the details. In your electronic file, you have these matrices.
Yes.
They are nothing more than the Plan Commission's explanation of how they compared what's before you against the criteria in the comprehensive plan. So what that tells you is we did the right thing through the public review process. Another, well, I take it back. I'll just jump right into what's before you. Really just improves for the benefit of applicants how criteria are seen, processed, and when a person knows that they've actually met the criteria. Because in the past it wasn't abundantly clear what an exceptional circumstance was or an undue hardship. So we spelled that out with the stuff you see in underscore, and which I've highlighted on the screen here. I should mention that none of these things are new. By that I mean I actually borrowed the concept of all of this from textbooks that go back 40, 50 years. And then Pat massaged it in the Kootenai County Land Use and Development Code shape.
Okay.
But I am very confident that these sorts of things have withstood the test of time in the courts and will be helpful for our citizens.
Well, in my mind, this is what I've used in the past to make the decisions. So now it's just in written form.
writing. I'm glad to hear it.
Okay.
So I'm fine with it. So what it does is it does away with that public hearing and lets you make that determination. Right. But I assume if you don't find for undue hardship that they could appeal to the board.
Yes. Everything I do can be appealed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Including this.
Matter of policy.
Yeah, I don't.
Right, and there is a public comment period for administrative variances too, so there is public involvement.
Right.
Yes. And then this is going to solve that problem of all those ones that come before us when everybody in the neighborhood is the same and yet they have to come before us.
No, actually, that's a different issue.
Oh.
We will, we're working with the Plan Commission on that. We're looking at doing overlay zones
Oh, okay.
to, so that we can get specific to neighborhoods.
Gotcha.
And say, you know, in this neighborhood, the new setback will be such and so.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
That will eliminate a lot of variance applications right there once that process is.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Streamlined. Good. Okay, so this is a public hearing. So are there any comments for or against? You didn't receive any, Nancy? Nothing?
And no one's on Zoom.
And no one's on Zoom, so I guess we would end public comment and go into deliberations?
Sure. I move that we end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
You're fine? Or are you fine?
Well, you need a second, and we need to.
Oh, I got to second it. Okay. I'm seconding, so we're ending public comment, entering into deliberations.
Okay, Cheryl Brooks is excused, Commissioner
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. Entering into deliberations. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think it cleans things up and just makes things a little bit easier and less comes before us.
I'm fine with it as well.
Okay.
I was going a little too streamlined there.
Yeah.
Okay, motion, please.
I move that we approve case number ORA 21-0001, which is a request by Kootenai County to amend section 8.8.203 of our county code.
Second.
Bill Brooks is excused. Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. Motion is carried. So case number ORA for ordinance 21-0001 is hereby approved. Moving on to our second item, case number ORA 21-0003, a request by Kootenai County to amend section 8.7.116 Kootenai County Code as follows. Go right ahead, David, please.
Commissioners, this one truly is a housekeeping measure. The problem dates back to 1997. The language that we have in our code has always said what you see is stricken through on the screen. And that it's so uncertain as to when the starting point is that it makes it nearly impossible for the staff to have a beginning and end to things.
Okay.
So this just rectifies that. It's nothing more than that. Again, the Plan Commission heard this on that same July 22nd hearing and unanimously recommended approval. And the staff does too.
And no opposition.
No opposition.
Okay. All right, then. So again, this is a public hearing. Do we have any public comment for or against? Hearing none. Motion to end public comment?
Yes, I move that we end public testimony and enter into deliberations.
Second.
Bill Brooks is excused. Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. Questions, concerns, thoughts?
Nope, I think this just cleans things up. I didn't see anything in there that took anything away from anyone or just helps staff.
Fair enough. Okay, motion.
I move that we approve case number ORA 21-0003, which is a request by Kootenai County to amend section 8.7.116 of our Kootenai County Code.
Second.
Bill Brooks is excused. Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. So case number ORA 21-0003 is hereby approved. Okay, then. So that concludes the public hearing segment of our meeting this morning. Moving on to deliberations. Potential action item. Case number CUP for conditional use permit 20-0009. A request by New Life Community Church and Classical Christian Academy for conditional use permit to expand a place of worship and school on an approximately 10.056 acre parcel of land in the agricultural zone. Zach, take it away, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Let me get this situated here. Here we are. I'll just sit here so I can man this. Good morning, Planner Zach Trevino for the record. Presenting a request by Classical Christian Academy and New Life Community Church to expand a private school that currently exists on a slightly over 10-acre parcel in the agricultural zone. Now, this is an existing church that has been in operation since the 1990s. The school is operating within the church building. The project is located approximately midway between the cities of Post Falls, Hayden, and Rathdrum on the prairie. It's along Hayden Avenue. And as mentioned, it's a little over 10 acres. The existing building is the only structure on site, and much of the area of the parcel consists of parking lot. It accesses directly off of Hayden Avenue. As you can see, the character of the area is agricultural and low-density residential. This use, notably, was established prior to the requirement for a conditional use permit for a church. So it's non-conforming. Because they were proposing to expand part of this facility, they now require a conditional use permit, and that is why the request is before you. This is an aerial view of the project that gives you an idea of the configuration of the site. This area back here behind the building, south is to the top right here, is where they are proposing to expand the facility. And what they're proposing is 3 portable buildings with the option of a 4th to allow for additional classroom space. Currently, the classrooms are in this building and they're quite dense and close together. which creates a less than optimal learning environment. And so they're proposing to add these portables, meeting setback requirements, of course, in order to allow expanded space. They're not proposing to expand the number of students that are attending. And the parking, as you can see, already exists serving the church use, which will actually have more people and continue to have more people than the school use. School use will be Monday through Friday, churches on weekends, so there's no overlap in terms of hours of operation of the two uses within this facility. This is a site plan provided by the applicant. Just gives a little more detail. Importantly, for water, there's a well located east of the structure. This is used privately by the owner. One of the main topics of the opposition and concern was water association that exists in this area. There's a water system that is used. This well is separate from that water system, although the applicant does maintain a connection to that water system in the event of an emergency, and that's detailed in the staff report. This is just a view of the site. It's a flat graveled area. There wouldn't be need for vegetation removal. They're not proposing any additional septic discharge or water usage. As mentioned, it's the same capacity. And they will need to buffer the site with some vegetation in the rear, and that's one of the recommended conditions of approval. Staff feels that the location is suitable for the proposed structures. It would, of course, need to they would need to obtain the proper building permits in order to establish those structures. This is the frontage along Hayden Avenue, and Post Falls Highway District was incorporated into the review process. This approach will be retained, as will one of the other approaches, but one of the approaches, there are three, will need to be removed as it was not permitted by the Highway District. Other than that, there really won't be any changes to the configuration of the site. Other agencies did not object. Panhandle Health District did note that they were operating at or near capacity. However, since the public hearing with the hearing examiner, the applicant has submitted an email from Panhandle Health District further evaluating a second septic system that is on site and is not actually reflected in the staff report. It'll be added into the order of decision for your signature depending on what you decide. But that facility is not, or that septic system is not in use. There's one in use currently. And if they were to increase septic discharge, they would have to go through the proper process with Panhandle Health and Kootenai County. That's just important to note as a distinction.
Okay.
No other objections. There was substantial opposition. There was a range of concerns raised with things like traffic, visual impact, noise, water uses, as mentioned, the perceived result of having a facility like this potentially opening the door to other facilities in the area, those types of concerns. A lot of the opposition at the hearing, based on what was expressed, seemed to believe that there were further expansion plans, that this was kind of opening the door to. It is important to note that if the capacity were to be increased or if additional structures on adjacent parcels were to be added, they'd have to go through a similar process. So this is just for the 4 portable buildings and the expansion. This is the capacity that I mentioned earlier. The applicant has expressed a potential interest in the future to modify this and increase it, but it would need to be reviewed by agencies, including the Highway District, to make sure that the traffic impacts could be managed. Staff does believe that the proposal is suitable for the area and does allow us to impose conditions of approval that could potentially increase compatibility. For example, eliminating the one approach will help traffic flow, and that's verified by Post Falls Highway District. Landscaping and screening requirements that apply to all developments like this will be imposed, and that could help mitigate some of the concerns from the surrounding property owners. As far as the comprehensive plan goes, the hearing examiner does believe that this would not conflict with the comprehensive plan and wouldn't inhibit future annexation, which is the goal of the transitional designation. And so given these factors, staff does believe that the request is appropriate, and the hearing examiner agreed, as long as all conditions of approval are followed. And I stand for any questions that you have at this time.
Okay.
So the private well you mentioned is what is serving the building now,
That's correct.
okay?
And you mentioned that there's no additional, they're not adding any students.
That is correct.
So
Yes.
basically, the capacity is remaining the same, so theoretically, the traffic load should remain the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what they'll have to do as part of that, as part of Post Falls Highway District review, is repeat a traffic operational analysis again in the
5 years.
future, just to verify that there aren't any problems that have been created. But you're right, no increase is anticipated.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Leslie?
I'm fine with it. I think that the necessary conditions are in place, and I think with the 5-year traffic review and with the fact that if they decide to increase or grow the school, that they will have to come
They
back
have to
to all
come
the
back for the
agencies.
approval. Okay, so given that we're already in deliberations, and I certainly don't have any concern either, motion?
I move that we approve case number CUP 20-0009, a request by New Life Community Church and Classical Academy for a conditional use permit.
Second.
Bill Brooks is excused. Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Philios.
Aye. And so case number CUP for conditional use permit 20-0009 is hereby approved. Thank you, everyone. Time is now 9:17, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, David, Pat, Zach.